So, hi, how is everybody? So this is the second in my videos that are focusing on life coaching techniques, and just a reminder that life coaching techniques can be used absolutely any time when you feel you need to make a change, but either you're not quite sure of the direction to go or you're not quite sure what steps you should take next. So today I want to demonstrate a technique. It's called the Wheel of Life, and it's called that because generally when people first start off, they're in the situation where they're saying, I know I need to do something, I'm not quite sure what. And so this is something that encourages you to look at every aspect of your life and decide, get an idea of where you need to start off. So you start off with a circle, and then you divide that circle into, I'm going to use something to help me make my lines look a little bit straight, because I'm an appalling drawer. I'm going to divide my circle into 8 rather scrappy segments. Okay, so 8 segments. Now, this can represent your life as a whole, or if you've decided that, you know, I need to get my house in order, you can assign each room in your house one segment. Or if you've decided that you need to get your health in order, then you can assign one segment to each different aspects of your health. So because we're doing this for life in general, I'm going to divide this, going to nominate each segment to be a part of people's life. Now, home and housing is a large part of people's life. Another large one is finances. How about health? Relationships? Or work? What else do you have in your life? Hobbies, relaxation. What else can you have in your life? Personal development. Big one for me. My writing's getting very scrappy as I write around the edge. And then that's 7. Let's see if we can think of an 8th. Home. You've got home, finances, health, relationships, work, relaxation, personal development. What else can you have in your life? I know there are 8 because I normally put 8 and my brain has gone. Work-life balance. Oh, and that's the 7th. Okay, so you've now got a circle with each area allocated a thing that it represents. Now, the center of the circle is, if you've mentally designated that 0, and then the outside of the circle represents 10. And basically, once you've got your circle, you're going to score how happy you are with each area of your life on a score from 0, which means I really cannot put up with this any longer, to 10, which is this is perfect. I can't imagine it being any better. Well, if you've got any 10s, good luck. But generally what will happen is, you know, you work, you enjoy your job, but it's not perfect. So you might score that a 7, and then you draw a line across the work segment that represents a score of 7. And then how's your relationships? Have you got a good relationship? Do you wish you had a relationship? Let's give that a score of 5. Health. How healthy do you think you are? How happy with your health? Maybe that's a 6. How are your finances in this day and age? Probably not good. Are you happy with your home, with your house? Is home somewhere that you feel safe? Do you go into your home and think, oh God, you know, I really need to get to sort things out? I'm pretty lucky, so I'm going to give my home quite a high score of 9. How's your work-life balance? Do you feel you've got enough time? If you feel it's totally out of kilter, it'll be a 0. If you've got it perfectly balanced, it'll be a 10. I don't know anyone who's got a 10, but maybe you're lucky and maybe it's about an 8. Are you happy with yourself personally, or do you feel you could do more to improve yourself? And how much time do you get to relax and enjoy yourself? Probably not enough. And so what you end up with is a circle with lots of lines inside it. Some are quite far out, some are quite close in. Now, I want you in your imagination to take away the outside line and imagine that the inside lines are the rims of the wheel, which explains why it can be so rocky. That's why it's called a wheel of life. So in this, finances is the lowest one. And that indicates that that is something that this person, and this isn't me actually, that this person, that's their most crucial thing. They just haven't got enough money. So you've decided you need to concentrate on your finances. Let's draw another circle. Okay, money. Basically, you've got money in and money out. So you divide up this circle into as many segments as you want. One could be your income. One could be your bills. One could be savings. And one could be leisure spending. And then you go through the same thing again. So you divide it, you say, right, how happy am I with my income? Probably not very. How happy am I with my bills? Well, I don't know anyone that's really that happy with their bills. How are your savings? Maybe you've got a few. Maybe you haven't got any savings at all. And how happy are you with the amount of money you have to spend on your leisure? And again, you will end up with a circle where one segment is definitely lower than the others. you don't necessarily have to end up with one segment lower than the others. You might end up with something where they're all about the same. But in finances, if your bills are worrying you, then maybe you need to look at ways of reducing your bills, and that can mean looking at your priorities. If you've got some savings, then maybe you need to dip into your savings just to even things out for a bit. But if you do, maybe you need to look at ways that you can, make smaller amounts of regular savings. I don't know. But this is just a general illustration that you start off thinking, okay, how happy am I with the various bits of whatever it is I'm really trying to fix? And this gives you a starting point. And to go back to the finances one, if you're not happy with your bills, maybe you need to look at, do you swap to own brand rather than buying the named brands? Do you need as many television subscriptions as you've got? It's worth checking to see if you're actually paying out for stuff that you no longer use. None of these things are going to give you an outright solution, but they focus your mind on what's worrying you most, which means that you need to give that area your attention. So this is a really useful little technique. Whether you already know what you need to focus on, or whether you haven't got a clue and just thinking, I need to make a change, it can help you focus on the bit that needs your attention now. And then, as I've demonstrated, you can kind of, once you've decided what area needs your attention, you can then write, okay, let's divide that up into bits and pieces, because nothing in life is ever really that compartmentalized. There's always bits to it. If it's your health that's an issue, is it your weight? Is it your blood pressure? Is it your diabetes management? Is it your chronic pain? Is it your depression? And they can give you, and you can divide your health up into the various segments. And the more you narrow your circle down, the closer you get to the first steps that you need to take. Now, the thing about life coaching is I don't sit here and offer you solutions. I help you find the solutions that work for you, because what works for you might not work for somebody else. I may have been through something very similar, but what worked for me won't necessarily work for you, because we're different. So life coaching is not about me offering anybody advice. It's about me helping you focus your thoughts. And this technique, this simple circle technique, is a really good way to help you get a visualization for, okay, well, really, where do I need to put my focus? As I say, you may already have a clear idea, but it's always worth, at the start, doing this whole life thing. Look at your life in the round, because nothing ever works in isolation. On this imaginary one, finances were an issue, but this person was actually quite happy with their work. But if finances are an issue, then maybe they need to get a better balance between the work they do and the income that they get to try and balance things out. It doesn't make things cut and dried, because nothing ever is in life. And while you're happy with your life, while you're happy with your work, maybe it just takes you away from home a bit too much. So haven't quite got work-life balance right. Only you know what's important to you. Only you know the priority that you give to having enough money, being really healthy, having time to relax. And it's quite possible for somebody with really, really difficult health problems to think, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about it. So, I'm quite happy with it as it is because there's nothing I can do to change it. And that's an important thing you need to remember when you're doing something like this is, okay, do I have the capacity to change it? And if the answer is no, if you've had a massive accident and, you've gone from being healthy to being confined to a wheelchair or to being disabled. If you've been watching the Paralympics, you will know how many people have, gone through, catastrophic injuries, but, they can't change that. But to make the most of the health that you've got and to stop stressing about it, because I'm very interested in a number of different philosophies, and Stoicism and Buddhism are two of the ones I'm most interested in because there's quite a bit of an overlap. And they both stress the importance of, if you can't change something, you've just got to accept it. Because if you're trying to change something that is not in your control, all you're doing is wasting a lot of your energy trying to do something that is totally impossible. So doing this exercise, and whatever you are and whatever you think you want, I would always advise you to do the whole life first, because that can sometimes give you some very surprising answers. You might think you know what you want, but when you actually do this exercise honestly and with an open mind, you might find that you come up with some answers you weren't expecting. So your homework for this week is to go through that Wheel of Life exercise. Do the whole life, then maybe narrow it down and do a circle that represents just one segment. And see what answers you get. See what ideas come into your head as you do that, because I can't emphasize enough, while a life coaching session with someone like me can be very helpful, in the end, the answers have to come with you. It's your life. The solutions need to work for you. How can I express that well? Right, one thing which I would always encourage people to do is to take up mindfulness and meditation. It's probably the easiest stress management technique that there is. And it's something that you can do without any help. Lots of self-help out there from me and from others. But there is no point in deciding, if your health is the one issue that comes out, there is no point in saying, right, I need to give my health priority, so I'm going to start going to the gym twice a week and I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes a day. If that does not fit in to the rest of your life, whatever you decide to do, the changes have got to fit in with how your life runs now, or it won't work. And you don't need to make the changes all at once, gradual changes. That's why I encourage you to narrow it down. Because if you've come up with your health as an issue, then if you narrow it down and decide which bit of your health you want to focus on, making small changes in that one area, whether it's, spending 5 minutes a day meditating or 10 minutes a day going for a walk. Start small and it will build up. And as you make changes in your health, you may very well find that work becomes less stressful, that you can become more productive at work. So actually your work is much less of a problem than it was, and you're actually happier there. And that could then spill over into the rest of your life. If work is making relationships at home difficult, well, if your work is going better, then your relationships at home may improve as well. Although we divide it into segments, every segment spills over into everything else. This is just a tool to give you an idea of where you feel your attention needs to be focused to start making changes that will eventually probably spill over into every area of your life. Because if you're not well, if you've got health issues, that affects relationships, work, it affects how you relax. It's going to maybe affect your finances if you can't work the way you used to. So although we divide it into segments, every segment affects everything else, which represents the fact that, I'll draw a slightly better, more stylized wheel. That's the wheel. Everything is joined at the spoke. So an improvement in one area is going to take pressure off the spoke, which may ease things in the other areas of your life. So that's why, although this technique encourages you to focus on just one area, the one that is worrying you most, you may very well see improvements being passed on into other areas of your life. And that's the wonder of life coaching, because, well, that's the wonder of life actually, because life doesn't compartmentalize itself. Everything relates to everything else. So that's just a little technique that if you're interested in life coaching and making improvements to yourself, you can focus down, help you define the focus on what you need to do. But you do need patience. Nothing changes overnight. Sometimes things can change overnight, but because that's generally a change that's imposed from outside of you that you've got no control over. When you're trying to make changes yourself, they tend to take time and practice. And it's a good idea to keep your mind focused on what the ultimate goal. I would advise initially, at least, keeping your eyes on the ultimate goal for whatever segment of your life you've decided to look at in greater detail. Always have an idea of what you want your end point to be for that particular part of your life. And let's do a little visualization. No, in fact, I won't, because you won't know what you're doing yet. But the usual visualization technique is, once you know which area you're focusing on, have a goal. Have a goal that, you want to, drop a few excess pounds, get your blood sugar down to, control better to whatever. And sit down, close your eyes, and visualize how things will look when you've achieved that. And every day, visualize how you want things to go. And in fact, maybe imagine that you've got to your goal. Try to make it real, because the more real it is to you, the easier it will be for you to act as if that's happened. And it will be easier then to make the changes. So there you are. That's my second life coaching video. I'll do another life coaching video next week, when we'll be looking at the importance of words and how you talk to yourself. So in the meantime, take care of yourself. Remember, you matter. Namaste.